In East Africa, during a time of shifting power, hidden political rivalries, and deep ethnic divisions, one man emerged from the shadows of the army and built an empire ruled by fear. A man whose charisma once entertained crowds, whose strength impressed colonial officers, and whose brutality would terrify an entire nation. His name was Idi Amin Dada. To some, he was a hero, a soldier who rose from nothing. To many others, he was a tyrant, a monster, a ruler whose hands were stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands. This is the story of how Idi Amin rose like a storm, how he ruled with iron and terror, and how he ultimately fell from power, chased across borders, abandoned by allies, and forced into exile. This is the 15-minute documentary on the rise and fall of Idi Amin. Idi Amin's early life remains partly a mystery. Born around 1925 in northern Uganda, he grew up in a poor Kakwa family. He had no formal education beyond a few years of basic schooling. But he was tall, powerful, physically gifted, and carried a presence that made people stop and stare. As a teenager, he joined the King's African Rifles, a British colonial military force. The British saw him as useful. He was obedient. He followed orders without question, and he was unafraid of violence. He soon became a military boxer, winning championships and earning a reputation for raw physical strength. Inside the barracks, soldiers both admired and feared him. But Amin also had a darker side: unpredictable temper, cruelty to civilians, and a willingness to carry out brutal punishments. Even British officers warned, Amin is tough, but he is uncontrollable. Still, they promoted him. They needed men like him during colonial conflicts. Little did they know, they were helping build a future dictator. Uganda gained independence in 1962. Milton Obote became prime minister, and he needed strong military support. He saw Idi Amin as the perfect enforcer, loyal, intimidating, and popular within certain army factions. But power changes people, and Obote soon noticed Amin growing too ambitious, too famous, too powerful. At the same time, Amin suspected Obote was planning to remove him. Their mutual fear turned into a silent, dangerous rivalry. Amin controlled huge numbers of soldiers. He built networks inside the military. He began acting independently, keeping money, weapons, and soldiers loyal only to him. Then came the breaking point. In 1970, Obote ordered Amin's arrest over corruption and weapons smuggling. Amin got wind of it. So when Obote traveled abroad to attend a meeting in Singapore, Amin made his move. On January 25, 1971, while Obote was thousands of miles away, Amin launched a swift and coordinated military coup. Tanks rolled onto the streets of Kampala. Soldiers seized the airport. Radio Uganda was taken over. Amin announced, "The army has taken over the government to save Uganda from corruption." Crowds celebrated. They danced in the streets. Ugandans were tired of Obote's political games. Amin promised peace, stability, democracy, a new beginning. Little did they know, they had just welcomed a nightmare. For the first few months, Amin played the role of the friendly leader. He visited hospitals. He ate in local restaurants. He joked with market women. He portrayed himself as a simple man of the people. He was charismatic, funny, and approachable, a stark contrast to Obote's stiff politics. Behind the smiles, however, a brutal system was forming. Amin dissolved parliament. Political parties were banned. Opposition members were arrested. But the real danger was still coming. By 1972, Idi Amin began purging anyone he felt threatened by. Judges, university intellectuals, army officers loyal to Obote, journalists, religious leaders, even his own friends. Bodies were discovered in forests and rivers. Families received no explanations. People learned to whisper instead of speak. Then Amin made one of the most devastating decisions in Uganda's history. He expelled 60,000 Asians, mostly Indians, within 90 days. These were the entrepreneurs, factory owners, and shopkeepers powering Uganda's economy. Amin claimed God had commanded him in a dream. The result: factories collapsed, shops emptied, inflation skyrocketed, Food shortages worsened. Economic freefall began. Still, Amin paraded as a global celebrity. He sent bizarre letters to world leaders. He declared himself King of Scotland, conqueror of the British Empire, Lord of all beasts of the earth. The world laughed, but Ugandans cried. By the mid-1970s, Amin was losing control. Assassination attempts and coup plots surrounded him. He became extremely paranoid. Anyone could be an enemy. Even his own ministers. Even his wives. Even his closest soldiers. Thousands were tortured or killed in secret police facilities. Foreign nations began distancing themselves. The economy choked. Fuel ran out. Food became scarce. Crime skyrocketed. Uganda was collapsing, and Amin needed a distraction. So he created one. In 1978, Amin invaded Tanzania, claiming the Kagera region. But he underestimated Tanzania's power and the determination of exiled Ugandans who wanted revenge. President Julius Nyerere responded with full force. The Tanzania People's Defense Force teamed up with Ugandan rebels. Together, they launched an assault on Uganda. Amin's soldiers, tired and unpaid, had no motivation left. Many defected. Others surrendered. By early 1979, Tanzanian troops marched toward Kampala. Amin tried to rally support using radio propaganda. But Ugandans had made up their minds. The tyrant's days were numbered. On April 11, 1979, Kampala fell. Crowds poured into the streets. Some wept. Some sang. Some destroyed Amin's portraits. Amin fled first to Libya, then to Saudi Arabia, where he lived in luxury with multiple wives and dozens of children. He died in 2003. Never tried for crimes. Never held accountable. Never facing the justice Ugandans longed for. Idi Amin left behind over 300,000 deaths, a broken economy, lost generations, families who never found their loved ones, trauma that still echoes today. But Uganda survived. Its people rebuilt. They learned. They remembered. The rise and fall of Idi Amin remains a chilling reminder of how quickly a nation can spiral into darkness. When a charismatic leader becomes a dictator, and when fear replaces truth. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Idi Amin could have been stopped earlier? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful storytelling content.